And now the conclusion of Dr. Freedom and Eric, Volume 4, What Lies Beneath.
Why are they moving so slow?
Probably because I sold them defective parts.
We can't keep this up forever. Slow or not, we're still outnumbered roughly 200 to 1.
We just lost 6 more people over on the right flank.
We've run out of laser monkeys, and we're down to the last crate of pulse grenades.
Are you there?
Still here, but not for long. We have the Cybermen trapped in a pass, but they are regrouping.
We should be near you soon. We remote piloted Shuttle 1 off to Derbyshire. We're using the tractor beam to carry the planner back to the monastery.
There they are!
They're coming in way too low.
The Cybermen are going to hold them like Swiss cheese.
Angus, we're losing altitude. We need more power.
Are you having a giraffe? It's taking all the power we had to keep the tractor beams going.
I feel like I'm a big clay pigeon.
Secondary stabilizers have failed. One more hit on that section and we're kissing ground.
Boss, we have incoming multiple signals.
I'm sorry, guys, I got you into this. But if we're going out, let's take some Cybermen with us. Ramming speed!
This is Jackal, leader to unknown shuttle. Identify.
Dropping out of hyperspace in the atmosphere. Those pilots must be lunatics.
Those are Hammerhead attack fighters. That logo, it's the Screaming Jackals.
This is Jackal, leader to unknown shuttle. Identify.
I know that voice! Merengue! That is Dr. Freedom in that shuttle. We have Cybermen on the ground here. Take them out, I repeat, take them out!
Okay, Jackals, you heard the Commodore. Clear out those tin heads.
Burton, we just dropped the planter down the shaft. Go ahead and push the button. And that looks like the end of the Church of Todd.
Mr. Toasty, I think you'll find the contents of this pad rather interesting.
What is this?
Invoices for all the weaponry I sold Barney Haggett. I think you'll find the account numbers he paid with rather interesting. But that is not all. 20 years ago, he bought several small demolition charges. I never asked why he needed them, but after the last maglev train suddenly flew off its rail, I knew.
And why are you doing this?
It's time to let go of the past. Maybe do some good for a change. Move on. Yuji, would you like to walk back to Foundersville with me?
You truly have come full circle, Rantha. I would be honored.
Oh, how touching. Let's all hold hands. It's a kumbaya.
Standing there, as if he had just popped into existence, is an almost 7-foot-tall gray alien, which is strange enough, except this one is wearing a black 3-piece suit with a fedora to match. This is Crll.
So he came to clean up the mess, so to speak.
Yes, the almond-eyed bundle of joy is named Crll. He's one of the keepers.
What the? I thought grades were the little fellas who put things in your bum.
Crll is a Ray Zeta Reticulan. The little fellows you're thinking about are the biomechanoids they call the Answerers.
We've crossed paths with Crll before. He showed up on Arcturus after we found Eric.
That is a story I would love to hear.
He is one weird duck. I've been working with him the last couple of months.
Speaking of weird, did he manage to explain the deranged monks we encountered in the foundry?
Or the one Bob and I saw near the monastery?
Apparently, in some cases, the nanites burn out the higher functions of the brain, leaving only the most primal instincts intact or enhanced.
Basically the same symptoms as the Romero virus.
It sounds horrible.
Did anyone ever find out who messed with the weather control system?
Aye, I hooked up the hardware. Well, Sparks here did all the computer work.
Okay, I was able to get into the system and bypass the lockout. It was Constable Gruxky.
It was Constable before Haggett.
And thanks to Rantha, Haggett is going to be doing some serious time.
Has anyone seen Jean?
She wanted some quiet time to process things. Speaking of that, we have a long few days ahead of us. Tonight, gentlemen, we celebrate the living. Tomorrow, we'll mourn our dead.
To absent friends.
To fallen comrades.
Sorry, I'm getting a bit forgetful in my older age, I guess. I forgot to mention earlier that we lost 7 members of our own crew, including Weebly Callahan, my quartermaster. He'd been with me on and off since the beginning. We also lost 24 colonists, including Marcus Renward.
So Jonas began to cry. Interesting.
That man died over 30 years ago. One question, Crll.
What is that?
Why monks? What made them choose that idea to hide themselves? Why religion? I don't get it.
That's easy. The Johansson brothers were Roman Catholics. Both had joined a monastery out of school in some sad effort to shirk the military draft. It must have stuck.
Some part of their hosts remained.
The Elizabeth Dane has been a box I've been wanting to check off for a couple of centuries now. It'll take us a little while to track down the remaining monks, but the operation is already underway.
What will you do with them?
The damage is irreversible, as you know. We'll vape them with phaser cannons. That way it will be quick. By the way, Jean has to come with me.
Hell no.
Look, I let Eric slide. Mainly because when you touched him that night, it somehow bonded him to you.
And you're going to do it again.
You know that's a very bad idea. I could just...
Do not move!
And just in case you were thinking about pulling that neuralizer fully out of your pocket, Eric has explicit instructions that if anyone here even so much as forgets what they had for breakfast yesterday, well, let's just say you're going to have a really bad last day in existence.
Do you want me to keep tabs on him?
No, Mr. Merengue. They're not going anywhere for a few days yet. Other measures have already been taken.
Yuji, what are you doing up here?
I just wanted to pay my respects to your mother and father.
I don't know what to say, other than it's time.
You both have a story to tell, I can sense that.
Almost 40 years gone now. I was a pilot on the border of my people's territory. I came upon a derelict ship. Its markings were very distinctive. I brought them up in the war book and it said 2 words, destroy immediately. I could not do this. I was picking up minimal life signs, so I docked my ship and boarded. The vessel was so badly damaged I was shocked it even still held atmosphere. I stumbled upon a room filled with what I can only describe as stasis chambers. Only one appeared to remain functional. I wiped away some dirt and condensation from a screen and looked into the face of a small child. A newborn. I had children. Without thinking, I pulled my weapon. It would be a mercy. I was caught between duty and morality. For an hour or more, I just stood there. Maybe I could take the child back to my Chinza, I thought. It would be a slave's life, but it would still be a life nonetheless. Or do my duty and kill that small helpless child.
What did you do? Why did it take so long to do what was right?
This is where my part begins, Jean. I came upon that same vessel. I found Ranthar standing there pointing a weapon at a harmless child, and I reacted. I stunned him, and I took a small stasis pod with me and fled. I headed for Drusilla because it was a small colony, and no one would ask questions. So I sold my ship. I hid the stasis pod in a carrying case, and then I took a room at the Wild Goose Inn.
That's how you met my parents?
I was alone, an outsider, and they took me in. Over time, we became close friends. I was there a couple of years when one summer night I came in from doing chores and found your mother in the kitchen crying. You see, your mother had been a soldier before she had came to Drusilla. She had been exposed to delta rays during a rescue mission. She had so wanted a child of her own, as did your father. The lab results, though, had just come in. Your mother could bear no offspring. It took me less than a day to make the decision to share my secret. They had given me a home, a place in their world. Friendship. The least I could do was repay them with the one gift they could not have otherwise.
And that's when you gave them the baby in the stasis chamber.
How long have you been there?
Long enough.
It was me.
Yes. And the rest you likely know. Your parents and Constable Gorski began to suspect the monks. They were on the maglev train, out to investigate some disappearances towards the southern province, and unbeknownst to Barney Haggett, someone else had been suspicious. His wife, Rowena. The train then suddenly derailed, and over 117 souls, including all of them, were lost.
And it turns out, I am the one who told Haggett the charges. I hope someday you will find it in your heart to forgive me. I didn't care much what happened back then. You see, when I returned home, they knew I hadn't completed my mission. I was forced to undergo the mock toe.
I'm deeply sorry, Ranthar.
What is he talking about?
When you fail your clan's Chinza on Verdefurken, they do not do anything to you. You are taken to a coliseum, chained to a wall, and then your family is let out and slain in front of you, one at a time. Then you're stripped of all titles and exiled, so you have to live with your shame.
I had no idea. No wonder you hated me so much.
That's why you took so long to decide. it was me, or your family. Ranthar, I am so sorry.
It wasn't your fault. It's time to let go of the past and move on.
And now the worst part. Jean, you can't stay here anymore. It's not safe.
This is my home. The only home I've ever known.
That ugly-looking fella in the three-piece suit is here to collect the Elizabeth Dane, and he has sensed your abilities. He knows what you are. Do you see Eric up over there?
Yes.
Eric is going to be shadowing you for the next few days. But once we're gone, sooner or later, Crll will come back to collect you, by any means necessary.
He is right, Jean. If it will help, I will look after the inn until such time you can return.
But this is so sudden.
The Derbyshire will not be leaving for about a week, Jean. I'll abide by whatever decision you make. Yuji, can I speak to Jean alone for a little bit?
I'll be down at the inn if you need to talk, Jean.
Wow, I see they already added a stone for him. Rest easy, Thomas Gill. It's over now.
You promised me a conversation.
And here it is. I'll tell you what little I do know. Once, out there beyond the Vagunas cluster, there was a system of 12 planets. On one of those planets was a society known as the Vindok. Well, and I'm sorry, my listeners, but this is where the story ends. What I told her that day was nothing more than semantics, the basics. I didn't tell her the prophecy, but be assured that a week later, as we prepared to leave, Jean approached the loading ramp of the Derbyshire with 2 small suitcases. The biggest surprise was that alongside her was former Yeoman Chris Pike. His hitch with the military was up, and he had decided to come along with us. I took them both in, and as I walked up the ramp, I stopped and turned. Crll was standing off in the distance, watching, and in my mind, I heard him say,
"A child of Vindok will be found alive, and the forces of chaos will be beginning to rise. Peace and love will slowly wither as the serpents of hatred begin to slither. The gateway will open and blood shall run thick, and all civilization will fall with the coming of the Fyct.